Hi everyone! Welcome back to Show Me How to Win. I'm your host, Jackie. Today, we're going to unbox Formosa Tea. I grew up in Taiwan and I'm a tea lover, so this game is a must-try for me. I'm excited to see what's inside. Let's take a look. Formosa Tea, designed by Chu-Lan and published by Soso Games Studios in Taiwan. Tasty Minstrel Games picked it up for US distribution. Here is the English rule booklet. Let's see what's inside the box. So we have the 4-player boards as well as various tokens and discs that need to be punched out. They're not super thick, but they're sturdy. Let's take a look at the board. The board is reminiscent to the other game that Soso has put out earlier called 大稻埕, with the 4x4 grid on the one side of the board. Here is a cloth bag for the tea materials. We have the farmer's meeple here in 4 different player colors, as well as the Tea Master meeples, blue, white, gray, and black. The discs are markers for the tech tracks, the domestic market, as well as the victory point track. Let's look at the cards. So global market cards, optional character cards for the advanced version, and the event cards. I really like the illustration styles of this game. So here are the 2-sided personal boards. This is where you'll do most of the processing of your tea. And the cards that we looked at earlier. These are the tea cubes that players need to collect in order to produce tea. Each player gets 2 farmer meeples and 3 tea master meeples. These are the flower bud discs that are used to make scented tea. Orange for oolong, brown for black tea, green for green tea. Here we have various action discs. Green action disc usually grants one-time bonus action, while the yellow disc can be used in the tea factory during your turn. First player token, 2-sided weather token, and round trackers for the event cards. Alright, that's it for the unboxing and the repacking of Formosa Tea. Stick around for my thoughts on the objectives and the strategies of this game. Formosa Tea is a worker placement manufacturing game, and I have a few basic tips for you. In Formosa Tea, players harvest raw tea leaves on the left-hand side and process tea on the right-hand side. Place a worker on any space of the 4x4 grid, and you may collect 1 of each different color cubes or all the cubes that are the same color. If you remove the last cube on a flower bud disc, you may also take the disc. When you place a worker on the left-hand side of the board, they will trigger workers on the right-hand side if they're on the same row. When you process a batch of tea for the first time by placing a tea master on the board, if you process at least 3 cubes, you get to advance 1 step on the corresponding tea technology track. If you process 5 or more, you would get 2 bumps. Players will gain reward disc when they pass through specific spaces on these tracks. The 2 green action discs shown here are one-time use, and the 3 yellow technology discs can be placed in tea factories anytime during their turn. You may be tempted to use these discs right away, but I like to save them and wait for the right moment. Some event cards will let you score bonus points based on how far you've advanced on these tracks, so make sure you're aware if any of these are in play at the start of the game. At the beginning of the game, every player starts with 2 random tea cubes. I recommend opening with collecting at least 2 cubes that match 1 or both of your starting cubes from the same row of the corresponding tea factory, so you are setting yourself up for more tea master movements during that round, as well as during the cleanup phase. The cubes in your tea factory can only be completed when the tea master gets to the last space of the track. Returning the tea master to your reserve to complete the tea and evaluate its quality, depending on the water content. It could be good, average, or bad. This tea master worker can then be placed again in the same round. In a game where you only have 4 workers or 5 in a 2-player game, being able to do more actions in a round is a big deal. So the timing to get your tea master out of the tea processing track is important, and you should really plan ahead. Make sure to factor this in when placing your workers. Sometimes it's even worth it to produce inferior tea, just so you could free up the tea master and place them again later on. Speaking of making inferior tea on purpose, let's talk about the tea quality and point values. High-quality oolong usually are sold between 3 to 4 points, black tea for 5, and green for 6. Selling tea on the global market means choosing a card from the right column and discard tea from your warehouse to score, based on the lowest tea quality you've sold. You also get to take one of the 3 bonus actions based on which space you took. These global market order cards could also be worth additional points if certain event cards are in play, or if you advance past certain spaces on the tea technology tracks. But making quality tea takes time and effort, and sometimes it may be better to just churn out teas at inferior quality faster and sell these on the domestic market or make scented tea. If you collected lots of flower bud discs, you can potentially score up to 6 to 10 points per tea cube if you have used this action disc or went to this space to add as many flower bud discs as you can for multipliers. Another reason you might choose to avoid global market could be because the options are not great, or if you don't want to reveal a higher scoring card for your opponents. There is a lot to consider, so calculate everything, evaluate what your opponents are doing, and figure out which route is your best option for victory points. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!